Nsuebe Kanya call ye Chikakra, the former president and Addo Addo. Now, or the lithium deal be by Ghana, Bushani, well, you share a wound a 10% emergency. Then time in opposition, the NDC for a solitary lithium both in parliament, outside the so make issues Ghana, lithium deal no on Ghana and sign. As they say, no, I can say, you can say, NDC, I call parliament, the lithium deal no. Checking over Ghana, papa, arrangement to meeting, no matter so about 5%. President, former president, making sure say Ghana benjamin 10% more bonity, then end this back poor, maximum betting 5% due.
Issue in Ghana now, lithium. And President Mahama minim why the government is silent on this. But no more, it will go against the NDC. If I break it down for you, you will get the proper context. They are not being truthful to Ghanaians. And the inconsistency is too much. At the year we started 2023, copiously, and these videos, videos never what? We're against the lithium deal. In fact, our chief communication officer, Sameje Vika, said lithium deal, government's boastful claim on 10% royalty is a celebration of mediocrity. So 10% in a from the royalties for lithium deal. No, a boastful. But in the current state of the law, no, NDC acquire renegotiation that they're never 5%. Then the explanation doesn't make sense. Why I'm saying the explanation doesn't make sense? The chair of the Minerals Committee of Mines and Energy in Parliament, Enya Sempa Kasai, and you see, politicians are very interesting human. Please listen keenly. No matter why the NDC MPs are not being truthful to Ghana.
If you take agreements, a woman is a $100 now far, you 50% of royalty in the agreement. But I can't ask prescribed by law. Me just on the basis, say medical card was 25 of 703.
Yes.
Now a range.
Sure.
And to say as prescribed by law. And now the act may an act in may range, ABR, Minister Legislative Instrument, I can say. And for this year, I'm taking 6%. That is why in the agreement, you can't ask prescribed by law. In the honorable Amakufibu identity about say as prescribed by law. Yeah. But you who say, and now the 10% in a buy, and now the 10% in a buy, and a year Papa Mayeno. Amakufibu as the catcher, Abuja upon Yakasa Achrem. The minister, Ghana for Mammy Akuna. Nay 5%. And I'm going to negotiate 6%. And your can companies will be 10% there. Minister, take steps. Now amend the law, no Fabra. Near ready and 5% and 10%. Ah, Minister, look at Namua or this amended act, no, Ebeba. So that there won't be no agreement. I pay.
Yeah,
so but amend this idea now on fan amendment na Maya. It will be difficult for us to even approve agreement here that way. Because you approve at 5% and I say do a man abro. Yeah, said your word general. They do a man name with a percent right and I it means also so yeah and she said them for Abba. I very percentage just 5%. I call whatever percentage or pay, meaning percentage or whatever. But you who say, you bet him they acquire no company, no, Ekiasia. We also getting no benefits, if we mining.
Yeah, but see, on the face of the renegotiated agreement, no, because the prevailing law at the time, and a minister, ASR renegotiation, Act 703 as amended. And also now, it can specifically say the rate of 5%. And if the minister says at the prevailing law, then it means that 5% now. And now, no, you refer to the range now. Also, bet me negotiated 6%. But I'm saying, say at the prevailing law, no, 5%.
There be maintained betting a range in there. They are amended. Okay. So that the range, it doesn't exist anymore. Well, it's been amended. by Act 794. So as far as we are concerned, range in New Hope.
Yes.
What is prevailing now? 5%.
5%. But
and you say, and as a company, no, a person will try to Yentimi no man abro. And the ancient Yamrama, Yenya say Mumbrano so. And the minister, I'm Rafu for bra. Increase the rate in my end. Fako baby a person will never call for. Na Yamaya approval agreement.
But I would have thought rather say, honorable, respectfully, say on the basis of argument we heard earlier, say amending this provision, no, and the certificate of agency within 1 day, ubetimi aye. You understand? That was your expectation of the previous government. Ubetimi aye. And if before the minister went into this new negotiation, no, I didn't know yes amendment answer because once all the parties have signed onto that agreement, a woman in parliament is here, say at the prevailing law, the company can argue, say, when we were signing this agreement, not the prevailing law, 5%. Until later, no nothing amended law now. You create problems for all of us. But the company can say, at the time of signing, no, the prevailing law was 5%. In Wakwa, how do you expect that new law to take retrospective effect?
Emrana was as prescribed by law. And at the time, the law was 5%.
Absolutely.
And the amending now, it is still as prescribed by law.
Yeah, and you're straightforward.
It is still as prescribed by law.
And you're straightforward, sir, honorable.
But Obi,
yeah,
you not call to them.
Now say I'm rasem the eka.
Yeah, you call to them.
By I'm rasem
the eka. Yes. And yeah, them rather turn. I mean, I'm here. I'm right. Kayan. And debate come, argument come. I have fresh in my mind.
Asempa FM.
What I can. And I mean, person will be big bushwa. And I was minister. I didn't buy a pepper. 10% get this carcass bebre. Into Tumika. Nakwaya a amendment ne fabra. Never the amount, send your baby business carcass the amount a buying. So you're bonnet. Yeah, because I'm a casse. Yes. And I'm a casse. In fact, and I'm saying, your quadros here bring out 10% to me. The minister, the agreement was about pass here. Nejina amendment no debanso.
Yes.
What the amendment in the balance and saying, yeah, you better be viatran. Your person, the amendment, beba, a besani. Nama, Yenny, I penna will be a mumraso. Now, mamma, in answer so, and who say, yes, cacat free, lithium.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about my area to say, or managers carcassy. Name we have a dim papa so, Yenya carcassy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, fidelity to the law, yeah, as a parliamentarian, no, it's a good cause, and I'm watching. But my worry is that before going into the renegotiation, we should have amended the law first. But we now know, say,
the minister. Yeah,
I agree.
What has I said, the minister? The minister in 2010. And then you say, I'm like a chairman of a committee.
But the other,
yeah, when you partner also need this and when I need this, I'm chair committee of parliament.
Very well. And no, I agree. Those questions you ever forwarded the minister. No, but the other thing is agreement nankasaba on the floor. No, say what ye comment and free minority members need be hot then. And this is the voice of currently Roads Minister, not a minority whip at the time.
No, I'm a member of the committee.
Yeah, I get it. Me can't on the
on
the floor.
I'm foundation way. Say. No, Kwame
Abuja, yes.
He was a minority chief whip.
Yes.
Opposition chief whip.
Yes.
But no one member of the committee. And to be no one here. One chance to say the name of but bet my play the voice.
Yeah, because on putting some now kind o de yentie me bama etifu etie me pacho.
Mr. Speaker, there's nothing in our standing order today that will stop us from allowing them to leave. But be assured, you will not be allowed to cajole anybody to lay a lithium agreement for anyone to go and mine in a reserve forest. Even if it will give us 10 trillion, we don't care.
And his argument essentially, they say, at the time, agreement never down when him no. omo mpene ema ye mo obi kwan ma ne nkomane wo forest reserve se be ma omane 10 trillion kra nya de a ombepene they essentially form and substance. The minority was against this agreement.
You see, say yeah, emrase bebiam de ohoni. Ye de emrano ba. Bibi ebebe bia no. Se ba se ye report no ba. Ni debate principles. And two bones will be akwa fa no constituency ade bi a related to mining. No so de abetu. Ye no ni agina so at the end of the day no. Let's speak say. No pencil. You do also one pencil no mapa. And what happens during the debate there? Because we be doing it here. Because about the principles, you can't money at we should take alam say bebam. Tap the ye. Say lithium that the report on bebano. We be take advantage. I can show you I say will because of galamsey. And he is right. Related is mining. A cap principles no.
Yes. What's Area Collins down that or say 10% na MPP agree no na against the law. Tieni na omo buy no the law says 5%. So now the deal has changed from a specific percentage of 10% to as prescribed by law. Now let's go through the facts. MPP aban was no deal no mo sign this was it and that's no. Ni ebenya 10% royalties. Now industry standard near 5%. So the MPP, in fact, in the lease stipulated said the industry standard is 5%, but I negotiated for 10%. Listen, Yebenya empowering 13%, carried interest. Now standard near 10% in there. Let me even forgo. Na me bobo somehow. Community no ebenya 1%. In fact, the 1% was not based on profit. 1% is a company that the production in area no profit of there be a revenue. So meaning that when you are 20 cedis, now to profit here 5 cedis, you pay 1% on 20 cedis, not 5 cedis. This was the deal. And the Professor Dan Pomo sharing the video amount for Kasa were deal ni bibia ni demonized deal on papa. So when the NDC came, some of us were expecting a better deal. Why am I saying some of us were expecting a better deal? You see, sometimes politicians, I don't know why they communicate and think everybody cannot think for themselves. What Yera Collins out there can. It is simple. You see, nobody should obfuscate the matters when it comes to some of these discussions. Ghana you free be Mining and Minerals Act 2006. Any other act in the buy. Yeah, the buy, you know. Okay, or see. Let me just read for you the Mining and Minerals Act 2006. I mean, Kaiman. Just a moment. I have it here. Or see. Section 25. A holder of a mining lease, restricted mining lease, or small-scale mining lease shall pay royalties in respect of minerals obtained from its mining operations to the Republic at the rate of 5% of total revenue earned from minerals obtained by the holder. This is the Mining and Minerals Act as amended in 2010. Yene ankofo we dey near 2023. Note the timelines. And bill we be amended no on the 16th of December 2015. Ya amended no from 5% in the TN phrase we be say a holder of a mining lease, restricted mining lease or small scale mining lease shall in respect of mining obtained in respect of minerals obtained from its mining operations pay royalties at the rate and in the manner that may be prescribed. Listen on, that may be prescribed. That is 2015. So there is no law. Already the 2015 Act cancels the 2010 amendment as may be prescribed. So why are we saying that we need a new law or amend the law to say that we need to go to 10%? Already, the 2015 amendment says that as may be prescribed. In fact, that is the section 25. You can Google the act yourself and read. In fact, to read the section 6, it says that the Minerals and Mining Act 2010, Act 794, is repealed. Or say, despite the repeal of Act 794, the rate of royalty in force immediately before the commencement of this act shall continue in force until the rate is altered. It's in your case, say, Act 794 2010, the coming into effect of the 16th December Amendment of 2015, which now amend the royalty from 5% to maybe prescribed. The maybe prescribed is the one in effect. So there's no 5% in the law again. So why are we going from a 10% prescription under the MPP to 5% in NDC that complained that the 10% was not enough? What explanation he's just cherry picking. And I'm not the minister. That's why I'm advising the minister. But he has a super majority in parliament. So what stopped you? And Obi has a very sensible question. You are signing a law. In fact, when you even read the spirit of this law, it says that despite the repeal of Act 794, the rate of the royalty in force immediately before the commencement of this act shall continue in force until the rate is altered, meaning that these laws cannot take retrospective effect. So the other party, how do you convince the party that when you amend the law to specifically say, which I don't think you need to do based on my reading of this. Let's even assume you amend the law to move it from 5% to 10%. How does it take a retrospective effect? Where from this? Why are politicians always like this? I was so confused listening to Collins that this is so easy. Yes, it's an act in about 2006. Yeah, amended in 2010. The 2010 one takes superior effect over the 2006 one. We have amended it in 2015. That one takes a superior effect on the one in 2010. And you don't need a prescription. I'm saying that. Read it yourself. Read or see. A holder of a mining lease, restricted mining lease or small-scale mining lease in respect of minerals obtained from its mining operations, pay royalty to the Republic at the rate and in the manner that may be prescribed. So why do we need an amendment? May be prescribed, and the sector minister represents the Republic of Ghana. That is why they signed the lease. So why does the Minister for Lands and Natural need an amendment to specifically say 10 or 12%? We don't need it. So even by this, the NDC negotiating 5% is curious. We need to, who are negotiating that deal? How do you move a deal and negotiate at 10% in 2023 to 5% and say that, oh, sana law neka? In fact, when you read the Act 703, right? This is the 2006 one. It wasn't even 5%. Originally, this was what the 2006 said on royalty, the 2006 one. Or say, a holder of a mining lease, restricted mining lease, or small-scale mining lease shall pay royalty that may be prescribed in respect of minerals obtained from its mining operations to the Republic, except that the rate of royalty shall not be more than 6% or less than 3% of the total revenue of minerals obtained by the holder. Even in